From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, softball soaring into supers, baseball slumping, question mark, into regionals, and we do our monthly SEC versus Big Ten where do you want to go debate, and it gets kind of messy. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it and take it, everybody. What's in a bottle of Vitamin Energy, Aslan? Why should I shake it? Why should I take it? Why should I sip the juice? Good question, fair. Well, it's the world's first clinically tested, clinically proven energy shot to not only improve your focus, but also your mood. Your energy is going to go through the roof. Why? Because there's 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine. You'll absorb it just right, steady throughout the day, 7+ hours, your whole shift. You're going to be at the top of your game because of the all-natural caffeine. There's also nutrients. There's vitamins, things that can help your focus, help your mood, help your pump in the gym, maybe even help you burn a little extra fat when you're in the gym, if you're into that kind of thing. Whatever you want, whatever your variety, it's there. Flavors, plenty. Options galore. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Noles, helping Noles. There's Noles behind this operation, everybody. That's how this thing works. That's how the synergy's been going on for 2+ years or however long it's been. Beautiful marriage. Beautiful music. VitaminEnergy.com. Beautiful stories over at Warchant.com, the ultimate Seminole sports source. Corey Clark, Ira Schofel working this weekend. Matt Lasser working this past weekend. For you people. For you. Our valued subscribers, our valued listeners. Tell a friend, Warchant.com, ultimate Seminole sports source. Corey Clark, my friend, good to see you again in this realm. Not see, but hear you, I guess, at least, right? One of these days, right, Corey, one of these days, I don't know when, this is going to become an all-video podcast, but today's not that day.
Okay, that would be – think about the numbers we'd get on YouTube if people could see us talking.
Unbelievable.
And see what I'm wearing right now.
Oh. Well,
yeah,
what's going
exactly
on?
Right. I'm going to leave it to your imagination.
Okay.
Especially little personal news. I'm up at I'm selling my house up in Atlanta, so it's unlivable right now as we get it ready to be, seen. I certainly can't live there with a teenage boy. So Shanna's out of town, so I've come up, and I'm actually staying in my ex-wife's house.
You commandeered your ex-wife's house.
Well, which is actually my old house. We bought this together, whatever that would have been, 12 years ago, and now it's like home. I'm in this house with Brady, spending the night. So good times. It's like reliving 2014 again. That was a good year, right? All things being equal, right? Football team was pretty good.
Absolutely. Amen, brother. Hey, we're going to force the football.
What a great year for Brady because his parents got divorced. Yeah. But your football team went undefeated until the playoffs.
Maybe that's what it is. We just need to inflict some sort of trauma on Brady, and then the football team will be back to normal. Was 2023 okay for him? Did he have any setbacks?
Nothing traumatic, I don't think. But, hey, man, I could conjure up something. I'll traumatize the kid. I'll figure out something else to do.
All right, we're going to force the football at some point. As always, we highly suggest you check out the show notes, item description, and you can hop right to the point in the video that might suit your interests the most. But we start with softball, Corey Clark. Your team, your beat, your account, I guess some would say.
Well, I'd say Ira. Ira was out there braving the heat the whole weekend. True. So
but
I'll give that to Ira.
You've been evangelizing about this softball program for like the last 5 years, so that's why I say that.
Yeah.
And you know this lineup top down. Things got a little hairy there on Championship Sunday. Florida State lost to Auburn in the first game in which they tangled, which forced a winner-take-all Game 2 at 3 p.m. on Sunday. And Auburn promptly put 2 runners on in the first inning with no outs. Yeah. And Ashton Danley was able to navigate through that. And that kind of became the sort of the rhythm through the first few innings for Auburn. They would get base runners, they'd get people on base. Danley and the defense had an error, I think, in the second inning. But they would find a way to get out of it. Michaela Edenfield with that. Was it a 2-out home run in the first inning?
Yep.
That was really all Florida State needed, but they held on for a 4-0 win over Auburn in a winner-take-all game. Florida State advances to the Super Regionals. Back on track. This team, great unit. for Lonnie, top to bottom, pitching-wise, defensive-wise, lineup-wise? What was ultimately the reason why Florida State was able to stay alive and make it to the last 16 standing?
Well, the two pitchers, Danley and Jazzy Francic, were the difference. Look, man, So I was there for the first game, for most of the first game. I was there. I had to come back up to Atlanta, so I left about fifth inning when it was 3-1, because it didn't seem like it was going right for the Noles. I figured I was bad luck, so I left. They ended up losing the first game 8-3, and it really did bring up memories of, I believe it was 3 years ago, 2022. That was a really, really good Florida State team. They were a top 8 national seed. They were in the winners bracket. I believe it was
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, right?
Yep.
Had to beat Florida State twice, and that's exactly what they did. And, buddy, when you're the home team and you're the favorite and you lose that first game kind of lethargically and convincingly like they did in 22 and then like they did again on Sunday, it gets real tight real quick. And there is no wiggle room. And then, like you said, when those first two runners get on base, and it's the top of the first inning because, of course, Florida State was the home team for that game finally. But they were not the home team in the first championship game of the day, because why would they be? For Ashton Danley to get out of it, look, Ashton Danley just pitches with base runners. She walks a lot, but especially compared to the rest of the pitchers on the staff. But she's wildly effective, and it worked out where they got the first two runners on base, and then they got out of that inning. I think the next inning, or maybe it was 2 innings later, they turned a triple play against that catcher, which, by the way, we'll get into that in a little bit. But the fact that they get out of that inning without a run scoring, so it's like you can breathe a little bit. Because if you get down 2-0 in a deciding game, winner take all, and you felt like you kind of choked away the first game of the day, you're like, oh no, here we go again. This is 2022 all over again, and we're not going to be playing past in another couple hours. Our season's going to be over. So for them to do that, to get out of that inning, and then immediately Issa Torres gets on base, because she does, with a bunt single, and Edenfield, 2 batters later, hits a 2-run home run. It's like, okay, you can reset. You're Florida State again. This is what we do. Now, it wasn't easy. I think they scored an insurance run in the 5th and an insurance run in the 6th. So it wasn't a run rule by any stretch of the imagination. But just getting that early lead was such a big deal. And they were the better team. Auburn had a couple of big hits in that first game, but clearly Florida State was the better team, and they made some incredible plays in the field to go ahead and win that game. And they did not play great at all. They did not hit the ball well, really all weekend, I didn't think. But certainly on Sunday, they didn't hit the ball well at all. But they managed to survive, and now they're in the Supers. They're one of 16 teams left, buddy.
They will be facing Texas Tech. Texas Tech swept right through their regional, taking down Brown in game 1 6-0, took down Mississippi State 10-1, and then was able to make work of Mississippi State in a championship game on Sunday as well, 9-6. So they went 3-0 in their regional. Nigeri Kennedy, who was the standout for Stanford last year, she's the ace for Texas Tech. So she and the Lady Red Raiders will be coming to Tallahassee. But yeah, it was that 4th inning, Corey, where once again Auburn got a base single to start it off, 4-pitch walk, and then a bit of an anti-hero, maybe a villain, some would say, in the catcher for Auburn. Aubrey Lisenby proceeded to hit into not all that common triple play. It looked like it went 4-6-3-2?
2. Yeah. They tried to score the girl from second. Sorry, the young lady from the runner on second tried to score after they turned 2 up the middle, and she was thrown out by 10 feet. That was a horrible job by, I don't know if she ran through the stop sign or the coach sent her, but that was not great. And they talk about deflating. Like, I think so she came up in the first inning, or the first time that the same player came up. She's the number 8 hitter. She's the catcher. Again, we'll get to that in a second. She bunts it's first and second, nobody out. It seemed like the whole game was first and second, nobody out. She bunts them to second and third, and then gets very, very fired up and very happy with herself for getting that sack bunt down. But then I think it was like a line out and a pop out, and the inning was over and they didn't score. So the next time she comes up in the exact same situation, and instead of bunting second and third, they let her swing away, and she makes 3 outs on 1 swing, which was pretty sweet, pretty karmic. And, then also they had the bases loaded, I think, in the fifth inning, the sixth inning, maybe the fifth. And Issa Torres makes a great diving stop and then gets the forced play at third, barely. Like, I saw the replay. Yeah. Auburn challenged it. It was very, very close, but I think she did get her. It was upheld. Great play. That's a great player making a great play, man. And I've said it for 2 months now, I feel like. Florida State has the best combination of shortstops maybe in the history of the world. This is crazy. Issa Torres has 95 hits on the season. She's batting .450. She hit a bomb in the first game and then had a bunt single in the second game. That's just what she does, and she makes that great play. I don't know if it's a game-saving play, but it's certainly a run-saving play. But yeah, so those kind of defensive plays, man, and they have not been great on defense this year. She's been pretty good, but they have not been. Well, she's been good, but they have not been great overall defensively. Certainly not by Florida State standards. But they made the play when they had to make the play. The freshman Shelby McKenzie hit her second home run of the weekend. That was a huge insurance run to get them to 3-0. That's a nice button that Lonnie pushed. She didn't push a lot of right ones in the first game. That second game, that was a great button to push. She pinch hit, and Shelby McKenzie hit a home run. I think it was her second pitch hit home run of the weekend. Maybe she should play more. And then Annie Potter had a RBI double to kind of close out the scoring, taking advantage of one of their errors. So, good win. Good win, buddy. And now can I talk about the Auburn catcher?
Please. I need the details on this as well.
So the people that watch know what I'm going to talk about, and I am not at all making fun of somebody's mental hiccups. She has the yips, Aslan. She cannot throw the ball back to the pitcher.
Uh-oh.
Did you ever see Major League 2?
Of course.
So if folks, it's not exactly a cinematic masterpiece. The first one is. The second one isn't. But in the second one, this rookie catcher all of a sudden can't throw the ball back to the pitcher. Could throw it to third, can throw it to second on a steal, cannot throw the ball back to the pitcher. So they tell him to go read like a lingerie magazine and just memorize all the words and talk to himself as he's throwing, so he's not even thinking about throwing it back to the pitcher. Well, that was based on a catcher named Mackie Sasser who played for the Mets in the 80s and literally couldn't do it. Like he got the yips where he had this hang up about throwing the ball back to the pitcher. He could throw it to third, fine, could throw it to second, but really I don't think it cost him his career, but it came close to costing him his career because he couldn't throw a ball to the pitcher. Well, anyway, this young lady can't throw the ball back to the pitcher. Literally can't and won't. So what she does is after every pitch, she stands up out of her squat, walks it halfway back to the pitcher, so walks it about, I'd say 25 feet, and then flips it to her underhand. Sometimes walks all the way out to her and puts it in her glove. Every single pitch. Every single pitch. And I could tell, especially when Florida State started losing, the fans were getting pretty riled up about it. It was hot.
Yeah.
It was taking an extra 10 or 15 seconds between every pitch because here's my issue with it. The pitch clock wouldn't start. The pitch clock wouldn't start until she dropped the ball in the pitcher's glove. So theoretically, she could have just stood there. She could have walked to third base, to second base, to first base, and then went to the pitcher and handed it to her before the pitch clock started. It was just it was maddening.
She should at least roll it. At least roll it when there's nobody on base. Can you just roll it? You can roll it.
Yes,
just roll it.
You could. And as I was telling Ira, it's like, she's been doing. I think this has been a thing now. I did a Twitter search because, of course, I did. When I saw it even before they were playing Florida State. I warned people on Twitter, "Hey, Auburn won, so just know what's waiting for you tomorrow. The Auburn catcher has the yips and will not throw the ball back to the pitcher." So I searched her. I searched Auburn Twitter. Auburn softball catcher. And the first thing that popped up was something from 2 years ago of her trying to throw the ball back to the pitcher and like pump faking, finally short tossing it to her and then almost collapsing. It's really painful to watch. Yeah. That was also 2 years ago. And I just feel like at some point, I don't understand. I think that's just a loophole that needs to be changed. Not that you can't just – You
can just DH her. Find somebody else to be your catcher.
That's the thing, man. She's the number 8 hitter. She has 6 RBIs all season. She's not a big part of their offense. But like you can't. I don't want to say enable, but it's fine. Let her. If she can't do it, I feel bad for her. I wish she would overcome this. But the pitch clock should start. Your pitcher shouldn't get an extra 10 or 15 seconds of rest.
Yeah.
because your catcher can't throw it back to me. Edenfield, as soon as she catches it, whips it back to the pitcher. Lo and behold. But also what bothered me more than that, actually that's not true. This bothered me the most. The pitch clock thing. I just thought it was an advantage for them. I think it does drive other teams crazy. I think it does give their pitchers a break. I think they get to rest. But also, and it also maybe takes your hitters out of a rhythm. I mean, literally, it makes you angsty. Like, get it out there. Like, there was a woman that was yelling, "Throw the ball!" Like, from a fan, from the top of her lungs, "Throw the ball! Can you not throw the ball?" And I wanted to be like, no, she can't. But she can't throw it to second. I saw her do it. She almost threw out somebody stealing. But she can't flip it to the pitcher. And if there's a runner on third, Aslan, you'll like this little thing. If there's a runner on third and she's walking it back to the pitcher, the first baseman comes and covers home.
Clever.
I
Just
guess.
good coaching. Just good coaching.
But what bothered me about it is the histrionics. She would not just run out there quickly, jog, and put the ball in. She's one of those catchers that has to say good pitch, and she points at her pitcher and nods her head and slowly nods her head and points at the pitcher as she's walking the ball back out there. And a couple of times, at least against South Florida, if the pitcher got a strikeout in the inning, she would spike the ball at home plate. So it's hard to feel too sorry for her when she's like that. That's all. So anyway, that's just, I can't believe that there's not a loophole. I mean, it is a loophole. I feel like that's something that needs to be addressed this offseason, is you can't just have catchers walk the ball back to the pitcher. It was unbelievable.
Amid that filibuster, we still have not gotten the schedule for Super Regional Weekend for softball. Still waiting for some West Coast softball to get done by the time we can drop that. Maybe we'll have it at some point.
It's got to be either Friday or Saturday, right? Like they start game one would either be a Friday or a Saturday. It wouldn't be a Thursday, right?
I think that's correct, but I can't say that with 100% certainty. What I can say with 100% certainty, Corey, is have you ever heard of wallet envy?
Of course.
I've fallen prey to wallet envy. This past weekend, hanging out in Jacksonville, pulled out my Ridge wallet, and it's like, ooh, hey, is that one of those Ridge wallets? I'm like, yeah. Then that guy's friend's like, oh, those things are really cool, huh? And I'm like, yeah, actually, yeah. I wouldn't say it's like changed my life, but it's made my life better. I thought at first, Corey, was going to be weird to not. The whole thing is you check yourself before you wreck yourself. As I think, I don't know, it was Ulysses S. Grant said that, or maybe it was William Taft.
It was it was at Lincoln.
Okay.
It was Lincoln, right? It was like the last line of the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, you pat your front pockets. Like, all right, I got my keys, I got my cell phone. Then you tap the back, and I got my wallet. Well, I don't have to do that anymore. And I thought it was going to be weird to always have my wallet in my front pocket, but I love it now. And I'm able to pull the cards out. Like, it took a little learning curve, like to figure out how to push my little weak thumb through the notch and get my cards out. But I've got it all figured out now, and I'm a huge fan of it. And that's where we're going to hook you folks up. If you go to ridge.com/wakeup, all one word, doesn't matter if it's all caps, lowercase, whatever, you get 40% off of your order. Stop with the cinder block in the back of your pocket, everybody. That's not good to sit on it. Your pelvis is uneven. You're going to have lower back pain, things of that nature. But it really does streamline everything. I don't need to carry half the stuff I did. I've been totally fine for like the 5 months that I haven't had all that junk in my wallet ever since I got the Ridge wallet. And it really is just cool and sleek. And you pull it out, and people are like, wow, you're a baller. And it's like, not really. I'm just friends with the right people. Check out ridge.com/wakeup. You still a fan of it, Corey?
Oh, yeah, I do. I like it a lot. And I think I'm going to get Brady one. He's at the age where he kind of needs one. Not that he has any money, but he has a couple of cards I've given him, I guess. So he needs a wallet himself. So I need to give him that. I think that's going to be – I don't even know if do kids even want normal wallets anymore?
Well, this
like
isn't a
from our
normal
day?
wallet.
I don't even think those are – no, I'm saying like the big bulbous ones.
Yeah.
I don't think kids like that anymore. Yeah. So, yeah, I need to get Brady one of those.
Ultra slim, effortlessly sleek, and surprisingly spacious. 12 cards plus your cash. Check it out, ridge.com/wakeup. Save 40%. It's Wake Up Warchant. We're presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it and take it. For as lovely as softball was this weekend, as equally antithically disgusting, love you, Link Jarrett, but Florida State baseball, not good times in the kingdom. 8-3 loss on Thursday night, 11-1 mercy rule loss on Friday night, salvage things with a 5-4 win on Saturday to at least not get swept. But these two metrics, if you want to call it that, I'm looking at, Corey, our good friends at the regional, or rather the corporate headquarters of On3, dropping their projected field of 64, has Florida State all the way down now to a 14 seed. The folks at D1 Baseball now having Florida State an 11 seed. So Florida State, what seemed like very comfortable top 8 national host, now in jeopardy. They are the number 2 overall seed in the ACC tournament that will be going on in Charlotte this weekend. So perhaps a few wins out there can kind of change their fortunes. But listen, I don't want to get too dramatic. Listen, Texas got swept last week. I don't know, Tennessee got swept maybe 3 weeks ago. Some of these teams that are going to be your odds-on favorites to win the College World Series have looked really bad of late. Florida State maybe saved some of their worst baseball for this most recent weekend against probably the toughest competition on their schedule. So not the way you want to see it shake out, especially the way Volini looked and Jamie looked quite pedestrian and quite mortal. But I'm not changing my thoughts. Still like this lineup. I still like your top 2 pitchers. Just not a great weekend for Florida State. Has anything changed in your mind about their postseason fate and fortune?
I just think if you're going to try to be the emotional leader of your team and the rock of your team, you should be able to get over a mental block and throw the ball back to the pitcher. That's all I'm saying. Like, be one or the other. You can't be all fiery and then, like, have to walk it out to the pitcher like you're a 5-year-old. And what bothered me is somebody tweeted at me about you got to show some compassion and maybe lay off for a little bit or so. I don't remember the exact words. It's like, she's an athlete and a good one. She's an Auburn softball player. Let's not treat any of these kids we cover, these people, young people we cover, like they're 9-year-olds. What's cool about sports, Aslan, is people get over that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are great stories. People do get the yips, and they come back. The Braves won the World Series in 2021 because a guy named Tyler Matzik, who was a first-round pick and awesome, but then got the yips and was out of baseball because he couldn't throw strikes, ends up coming all the way back and being the most important relief pitcher on a World Series team. Those are celebrated. So anyway, I honestly, I would feel so much worse for her, and she would be so more sympathetic if it wasn't all the rah-rah pointing at the pitcher and all that stuff and just wasting everybody's time. But anyway.
I love that somebody replied in your tweet with @Grok thoughts. And the AI robot said the Auburn's catcher's yips, walking the ball back instead of throwing, might slow the game, potentially helping FSU steal bases, but also giving Auburn's pitcher extra rest. It could impact their confidence, though team support may boost unity. Strategies like psychological coaching or focusing on her strengths could help. There's debate on whether mechanical fixes worsen the issue. Outcomes depend on how both teams adapt.
I thought the pitcher, wouldn't it have made more sense if the pitcher just walked back to second and she just threw it like somebody was trying to steal every time? Because she's got an arm. Like, it was crazy, Aslan. On the warm-up pitches, she's literally doing the same thing. All 8 warm-up pitches, she would catch it, walk halfway there, and flip it. But then coming down, she would catch that and rip it to second. Just crazy. And I know all about Steve Sachs and Chuck Knobloch and all that. Those were, anyway. But on to baseball. I had to get that off. I totally forgot about that.
You're welcome, everybody. Listen to headlines. Corey got out of his system on this show.
Yeah, I'm not going to bring it up again. Look, the baseball team, I thought Jamie was done in by some not great defense on Thursday. I mean, he wasn't great. And the offense just got run through by that kid. I shouldn't call him a kid. I think he's 24, 25 years old. The Knapp pitcher for UNC. He's very good, and he just ran through him. He had a 5-pitch 9th inning. It's insanity. But yeah, look, man, North Carolina's better than Florida State. I don't think that was a fluke. Florida State did great to win the one game, to salvage the one game. They barely did it, but they did it. I think that's an important win. I think all those things are with the seeding. Those are just guesses. We don't know that for sure. But yeah, I mean, Florida State probably has a little bit of work to do, I would think, to try to get back in the top 8 national seed conversation. But you're right to say I think UNC is the toughest team they faced this year. That team, I mean, they played incredible defense. They have good defensive metrics anyway, at least the fielding percentage numbers, but they made every play, and they were hard plays. It was nuts. Like the center fielder ran down everything. The left fielders crashed into the wall. The shortstop and second baseman made play after play after play. That's a legit team, man. Yeah. That's a legit team with two good starting pitchers and some good bullpen guys too. I think I don't think Florida State's as good as North Carolina. I think Florida State was lucky to avoid the sweep. And I think it's one of those things where if they played 10 times, North Carolina probably wins 7 of them. But that said, Jamie Arnold he couldn't locate his fastball. He wasn't great. He got out-pitched. But he gave up 4 runs when in reality, man, Miles Bailey's got to make a play. That there's a little soft line drive that he jumps for that hits off his wrist. It goes down as a hit. It was not a hit. And then on Saturday, that Wes Mendez, I don't know if you saw that, but they pop it up between basically right on the first base bag. And somehow Wes Mendez, the pitcher, who had a really nice game, loses his mind and calls for the ball. Like he's not pitchers are never supposed to catch pop-ups, even if it's on the mound. But they're certainly not supposed to run 30 feet to their left to catch a pop-up. And Bailey just watches the ball land right at his feet. But again, he's a freshman. He's still getting used to the position. Now, we're 50 games in. You got to be smarter than that. And I think Lodi's might have said something to him immediately after he let that ball drop. But also Mendez has to know better. Don't call it off. And then Bailey call for the ball, and then Bailey also has to call him off. But if Bailey makes that play, they might not score a run that inning. But instead, it's a walk and then a ball off his glove, and you've got first and second, nobody out, and then here come a couple of runs. Gage Harrelson had a chance to throw a kid out at the plate on a really shallow sac fly. Horrible throw, 15 feet up the line. So, again, Arnold was let down a little bit by his defense, but I don't think they were winning no matter what. That kid was dialed in. Saturday was really disappointing. Yeah. That was just uncompetitive. It really was. Vellini got out of some jams too, and still ends up giving up. It reminded me a lot of the Wake game, honestly. The game 2 against Wake where he got lit the F up, and those are 2 of the better offenses he's faced where he did not pitch well at all. But he's had other. I don't know. I can't remember what he did against Clemson. I know they lost that game, but I don't know if he got steamrolled or not. But you start to feel a little less secure about him, because he's probably going to. He's going to be your game 1 starter.
He went 8 innings, 3 earned runs, 5 hits
against Clemson.
Yeah.
And they lost
6-3. Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Never mind, Joey. So that's good. He wasn't good against Cal, but he wasn't horrible. He gave up the bomb. But other than that, I don't think he was horrible against Cal. But those are 2 not great starts in a row.
Yeah, like the West Coast trip and then the short week, not helpful.
It's a tough deal. You're absolutely right. And they all had short rest. North Carolina got the benefit of they didn't play Saturday or Sunday. So they basically got a whole week off. Meanwhile, Florida State played Saturday and Sunday and then had to fly across the country.
They flew back on Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they did fly back on Monday and didn't practice. So North Carolina did have an advantage. And I know people can roll their eyes at that, but there's a little bit of an advantage. It's not like Link was making that as an excuse, using that as an excuse, but it's true. But, yeah, I think what I didn't like what I saw from Vellini, but he can be good. I wonder – genuinely wonder. This was by far the best pitching staff I think that Florida State has faced this year. I don't know who's number 2, but Carolina has the best pitching staff they've faced. And they scored 9 runs in 3 games. That gives me a lot of pause as you get because you're going to face pitching like this the rest of the way. Maybe not in game 1 of a regional, although those teams always have an arm. But after that, you're going to face good pitching. And can this lineup consistently string together enough quality at bats, bam, bam, bam in a row against a top 10-ish team to win a series?
Well, wasn't this a battle in what you wrote? Wasn't this a battle of top 10 offense versus top 10 pitching staff?
Yeah, the pitching won. Yeah. Look, Florida State won the game, and again, that was a big game, and I do want to give credit to Max Williams and Bailey for what they did in that 8th inning after they walked Lodis. Those are big hits, man. Those are 2 of the bigger hits of the season to salvage that win and keep you in the conversation, get you a bye get you a double bye for the ACC tournament, which is good. Because I think if you win the ACC tournament, you definitely have a chance to be a top 8 national seed. So that was a good win, and those were good at bats. I thought they looked better on Saturday. Sorry, I keep getting the days confused because it was pushed up a day. Than the first 2 games. I just thought they didn't battle at all. They didn't work counts, and I know they're an aggressive team, but man, they were just swinging it. They were swinging at the pitches they wanted you to swing at. And, they did hit some rockets right at people. It seemed like every time they did put a good swing on a ball, North Carolina just made a play. But, until the first 2 games, Florida State walked 13 batters and hit 4 more. UNC walked 1 and hit none. So that's 17 free bases that you give North Carolina. Meanwhile, they gave you 1 and no errors. Meanwhile, Florida State, I don't know if they were charged with any errors, but there were a couple plays that needed to be made and weren't, like a drop pop-up, a drop kind of soft line drive, Miles Bailey kind of not catching that foul ball right before the 2-run homer on Saturday. Now, again, it would have been a nice catch, but Division I college first baseman, a good athlete, you got to make that play. So I just thought you gave them a lot of free bases and some extra outs, and also I think they might be better than you, so that's not a great recipe. But you did win Game 3 with theoretically your worst of the 3 starters on the mound. So if anything, maybe Mendez has some nice life coming into the postseason now. And that's a nice feather in your cap if he can look like that. Like Link said, that's the best he's pitched all year. He hit 95 a couple of times. There is a chance, probably a decent chance, I would imagine, he doesn't pitch this weekend. So the next time he pitches, he'll have 2 weeks off. So should be pretty fresh. I think that there's still a lot they can still get to Omaha, man. I'm not down on them like that. The offense is what I think was most troublesome this weekend. They did not put together a lot of at-bats. You've got one of the best hitters in the country, and then a lot of kind of question marks. Although Cal Fisher continues to impress. I like that kid.
Yeah. Again, listen, it's hard to come on here and do a show after they lose a series and you get run-ruled in one of those games and be like, yeah, they're going to be just fine. But, we need to keep everything in proper context, and I think to your point, Court, it's about, that was a really good pitching staff. You were able to get 1 game. I mean, some of the things that make you feel good, John Abraham came in, I think, back-to-back days and was able to put out some fires, if you will.
I want to give a shout-out real quick about Abraham.
Yeah.
So that inning, that's the most important couple of innings he's pitched all year. Coming in after Prescott. By the way, Prescott's throwing 98. What is going on? That kid turned around a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, the pinch hitter, and hit it to the moon. It's like Paul Wilson was drafted number 1 overall throwing 94. Now you got guys throwing 97, and it's like, well, if it's 98 and straight, they're going to blast it. It's just a different age we live in because Prescott was throwing really hard. He just couldn't get his secondary pitches over. But yeah, so and Abraham, great job. I wanted to give a huge shout out to, I don't know his name. He's an animal. He's a bigger dude. His jersey says Davis, number 4.
Okay.
He's as big a reason that John Abraham did what he did that last inning as anybody else. So he got up. He did throughout that 8th inning. He got up and got in front of that section down the third baseline and was doing Nole cheer after Nole cheer. He was walking around in front. He got that place, which was very hot, and it was kind of quiet after North Carolina tied it and then took the lead. And he got that place into a fever pitch. It was as loud as it had been all weekend as these freshman relievers for North Carolina are trying to get outs. And they were legitimately, I think, rattled, those pitchers. And I give it all to him. He got up and made people stand up and made people cheer and be loud. And they were. And then in the 9th inning, it's the same thing. As soon as that inning started, even with a 5-4 lead, everybody's sitting back down. They're watching the game, but they're sitting back down. And he goes in front of them and says, no, get up, everybody up. And so for the whole 9th inning, that entire section, the grandstand, they're standing up and cheering and doing Noles cheers and doing K-times all together. And I'm telling you, that stuff mattered because it was dead. And that dude, not single-handedly, I'll give John Abraham some credit, but almost and I'll give Max Williams and Miles Bailey some credit, but almost single-handedly won that game for Florida State, which, again, is why it would be really nice if this team could be a top 8 national seed. You can get a little magic in Hauser.
What is Link Jarrett going to do with DH and catcher? What would Coach Clark do at DH and catcher? Well,
it depends on, because I did not like anything I saw from Chase Williams. You can't steal first base. He took, I think he had a 2-0 count with the bases loaded.
I mean, the guy threw his body into the wall for an out, Corey. Come on.
No, I know. It's a great catch, by the way. But I was a fan of that. I'm sorry. But at the plate.
Yeah.
And he takes a wild swing at a 2-0 pitch. Again, a pitch they want you to swing at. I think it's a changeup away. I don't think it was on the plate. I think he swung at ball 3. And I will never understand why Chase Williams especially, Jackson West too for that matter, why are they swinging at the first pitch ever? They have one home run between them.
I think it's Link, man. Link wants them to hunt strikes. I mean, if you see a strike.
To do damage, right?
Yeah.
Those two young men don't do damage. Chase Williams, Chase Williams especially, the damage he does is on the bases.
Yeah.
So his number one goal with nobody on base, leading off an inning, not with the bases loaded. Yeah, you could drive it. You could triple them all in. But with nobody on base, to start an inning, you need to get on base. Don't swing at the first pitch, man. You're not a home run hitter. You're not hitting home runs. You need to get on base, and especially against a team like that, they will give you the pitch they want you to swing at. And I just felt like they kind of exploited him a little bit. And from here on out, it's going to be a lot of really good pitching that he's going to be seeing. He's going to make that adjustment. I think he's a really good player. And I know he has power, but his number one trait is getting on base and stealing bases. He couldn't steal first. I don't know if he got on base all weekend. And then at catcher, man, I don't know. I think it's the rotation of the 3. I think he did like Jackson West. I thought Jackson West played well behind the plate, but he's just not giving you anything offensively.
246 he's batting.
Well, with one home run, and what's his slugging?
244, sorry. He's down to 244.
His slugging percentage has got to be less than 300.
I don't have that in front of me. I failed.
Yeah, so it's not great. And that's why it's like him swinging at the first pitch too. It's like at least he has hit a home run this season. He's hit home runs in his life, but it's like, man, you need to work counts and get on base. If you barrel one, it's going to be a single to right. Well, a walk's as good as a single to right. Chase Williams, a walk is a double. So I would have liked a little bit better. And I don't say that about Miles Bailey or Lodis or Max Williams. I don't give them grief for swinging at the first pitch all the time. They do damage when they swing at the first pitch. That might be the best pitch they get. The other one, especially Chase Williams more than anybody. Harrelson too, but especially Chase Williams. I'd like them to work it a little more and get on base.
Slugging 298.
That's rough. That's not going to cut it. Again, he's the number 9 hitter though. No. They all can't be great. And I'll tell you this about Jackson West: he will throw the ball back to the pitcher. You know what I'm saying, Aslan? Don't sleep on that ability.
Amen. I mean, shoot.
He ain't walking it out there.
Don't take that for granted.
Hey, by the way, I did ask Link this after the game on Saturday. But I couldn't ask him the other nights because he wasn't in the best of moods. But you know how when the pitcher comes off the field after his outing, the umpires will check his hands?
Yeah.
So I asked Link about that. I was like, what's the punishment for that? What if they find something on his hands? I was like, it's an ejection, I guess, right? He goes, I'm not sure, but I think so. And I'm like, yeah, but he's coming out of the game anyway. All the strikeouts still count, right? And he's like, you know what? And he kind of half smiled. He doesn't smile much, but he kind of half smiled. He's like, yeah, that's a really good point. I see what you're saying. He's like, yeah, he's ejected, but he just pitched 7 innings of one-hit baseball. So what good does that do? I'm like, yeah. So if an umpire does find sticky stuff on his hands, who gives a crap? Unless he's done, I don't know what the punishment would be. He's already out of the game. Maybe he misses the next game, but he might be a reliever anyway that just struck out your cleanup hitter and cheated to do it. So I don't know. That's something. If anybody listening to this knows what the exact punishment is, because they wouldn't make all that obsolete, right? They couldn't take away the strikeouts.
Yeah. We're going back to the fourth inning, starting.
Yeah, so the people that don't know what I'm saying, when Jamie Arnold comes off the mound, it's really after every inning, though, I think.
Yeah.
So they do check every inning. But say Jamie Arnold comes off the mound, they bring in Abraham with the bases loaded, nobody out. Abraham strikes out the side to end the inning and preserve the win. The umpires will go and check the pitcher's hands to make sure there's no sticky substance on it, that they're not doctoring the baseball with the sticky stuff that was all about them in the major leagues a few years ago. Well, okay, but if they find it, the inning still happened, and those strikeouts still happened. So why wouldn't you do it? That's all I'm saying.
Well,
guys, something to think about. Link, I know you're listening to this. Somebody associated with your program is listening to this. Come on, man. Get this thing going.
Well, they also do check you before you enter the game, too, from the bullpen. So,
why do they do it both times?
I don't know. Just a double check. Just make sure you don't have something under the brim of your hat, And
if you do, what are they going to do about it,
Exactly.
Aslan?
Exactly. Yep. Florida State, again, they're the number 2 seed in the ACC tournament despite that sort of stinker of a weekend. So they get a double bye into the quarterfinals. They will play on Friday at 3 p.m. They get the winner of Duke versus the winner of Louisville Pitt.
It'll be interesting. I would think that Vellini will start on Friday.
Get them back on. Well, I don't know. You want to get Jamie back on schedule?
No, because here's my thought in all this is that if you lose on Friday, but I think
over.
Vellini,
it's single elimination now.
Yeah,
boys and
it's
girls.
single elimination. So then Jamie basically gets 2 weeks rest, which is very, very good news. Because I think the last time he had 2 weeks rest was after the Virginia series was canceled, and he shoved against Louisville. That was his best start of the year. He was throwing 96, 97. They had really no answers, and that was a good Louisville team. That's a good Louisville team, and they had no real answers against that kid. So that's better for him if he gets an extra week off. Also, I think Vellini's going to pitch for you on Friday the next weekend anyway. So why not get him to – and he just pitched Friday.
Good point.
So just keep him at Friday. He pitches this Friday. You win, great. You lose, oh well. And then he's pitching the next Friday against the 4 seed in the regional. So I would think they'd say – I would be surprised if Arnold pitches on Friday in the North Carolina heat. I would save him.
If they win, do you throw him Saturday, or do you only keep him for a championship Sunday game?
No, because then you get him off schedule if you pitch him Sunday. So if you're going to pitch him, you pitch him Saturday so he can come back on a week's rest and pitch, you hope, the winner's bracket game of the regional.
Yeah. Okay. If you're not going to be at you're not going to be in Charlotte, but if you're not going to be in Tallahassee in 2 weeks
Is it in Charlotte or Durham?
It is in Durham.
Okay.
I said Charlotte. I apologize.
Yeah, you did. I was making sure, yeah.
I'm just going to do this whole read over again, everybody. I was trying to segue
to
the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
My fault.
The service there, always smooth, not as choppy as that segue, everybody. CPTallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. That is the physical address. You can bet your bottom dollar come Friday, 3 p.m. TV screens in there are going to be set to the Florida State versus the Game 7 winner of the ACC tournament. It's also going to be set to whenever we get these times for softball back in the Supers. Let's go. It's a Florida State bar, everybody, but it's also a sports bar that doubles as a fantastic food destination. FRFR, IYKYK. Dartboards, pool tables, ice-cold beverages, Vegas wall of screens, 40 televisions in all. Whatever you want, it'll be on a TV screen. Only at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Don't forget Trivia Night, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Bingo Night, Thursday, also 7 p.m. Correct, Corey?
Yeah, duh. And the drink specials, really the cheapest beer. Not cheapest beer as a not good
lowest
beer.
Priced.
Lowest priced beers out there. Lowest priced drinks, period. Just a great place to spend your time. Like I said, the ACs are the best in the world. And as it gets hotter and hotter, but it's a good place to go before you go to watch the softball games on Friday and Saturday. Or after to come celebrate. It's a good place, and apparently it was jam-packed Friday evening watching some softball and watching a little bit of that baseball. So yeah, and they put it up on the Vegas wall. I can promise you it's the only bar in Tallahassee that's putting up Florida State softball on a huge Vegas wall for people to watch because that's how much Bill cares about Florida State sports.
He's a Nole. You're a Nole.
Dang right.
Go to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. All right, final segment of the day. It is Wake Up Warchant. We are presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Corey, I'm going to do something you don't like. I want to read a comment directed at you that's negative.
Oh, great. Before you do that, though, I'd like to say I want to give a shout-out to Travis in Devon. I think their name. I wrote it down pretty immediately after I met them, but I always get it wrong. They're from Pensacola. Nice. I met them Saturday at the baseball game. They came up and said hello. They came over just for the game and came. And by the way, there was a flyover.
Ooh.
How about that on Saturday? That was cool. Couldn't see it, though, because I wasn't in the front row of the press box because the entire front row was taken up by North Carolina sports information. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so they came up and said hello, and they were very nice, so I wanted to give them a shout-out.
In the sake of equal time, I will say there's somebody that continues to post on all of our shows and does not like my takes when it comes to being – I don't want to say I'm anti-player. Listen, I think NIL's fine. Drew Farrow – make your money on your Ford commercial. If Pike wants to drop 5 Gs to have Tommy pour beer bongs out the third floor window, do it. I'm just not a big pay-for-play proponent, and this guy just constantly thinks that I'm doing like anti-competitive, monopolistic ideas. Which, listen, man, NFL's got free agency. It's one period. So let's just have one period of a transfer window. But I digress. So they're out there.
And also they sign contracts that are 5 and 6 years long.
Well,
in the NFL, I'm saying
they're going to get contracts too now, Corey. They're going to get one-year deal.
Yeah, man, I'm all for it.
Yeah. I won't say your name out loud, so it won't hurt as much, Corey. But the opinion that FSU is better in the SEC is dumb, and we don't share it. Please stop saying it as if we can just all agree that it's true. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's almost like you haven't been covering this team and seen its interaction with the SEC and ESPN this whole time. Your opinion sounds uneducated, and it's like you're a closet SEC fan that just hopes and prays that one day Daddy will finally love you. Take yourself to the SEC. The Big Ten has a better brand with more money. The SEC narrative is dead. I could not disagree further, Corey, and I think you
so
might
that
be a
wasn't
little bit wound
you
up.
that wasn't you that sent that message,
dude. I just don't. Why do you want to go to the Big Ten? I get the money, but I listen, SEC money prints the same, spends the same as the Big Ten. I don't want to go to the Big Ten, man. I don't want to play softball against Illinois. I don't want to play baseball against Minnesota. I don't want to play football against Purdue. I don't want to play football against Illinois. I'd rather play Arkansas. I want to play Ole Miss. I just can't imagine if you love college football, man. Listen, I'm sorry. I hate saying it. I don't have a brainworm disease that makes me throw logic out the window. You want to be on ESPN. ESPN owns the SEC. You want to be in a league with Texas and Georgia and Alabama and LSU and Oklahoma. That's the conference you want to be in if you love football. If you want to see Doak sold out every single week, the city buzzing, you want to be in the SEC. You want to be on ESPN. You want your product on TV everywhere across the country at all hours. Man, if you're at the gym at a hotel, it's on ESPN. If you're at a hotel bar, it is on ESPN. They're talking about the SEC. They're not talking about Michigan right now. They're not talking about Wisconsin. They'll talk about LSU football, even though Brian Kelly hasn't done anything of substance, because it's their product. I just can't imagine. I understand the snub and this belief that there is a belief. I mean, it's not a belief. They do favor the SEC. It's their product. They're gonna stick up for them. I would like that help. I would like that defense. I would like to be under their umbrella. Corey, your thoughts? And I've said that a million times.
I don't understand. So he was mad at me, not you?
Yeah. I guess yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you're the one that took offense to it.
I am offended by it, but I want you to. You're more eloquent. But he said your name, so I figured maybe you put some better words out there into the ether on my behalf.
No, I mean, you didn't say anything that's not true. I don't care about hotel TVs being on ESPN. I don't care about that. And if Florida State and Clemson joined the Big Ten, all of a sudden the Big Ten is close in football, very close. When you look at the prestige of those programs, throw Miami in there too. Now that they're spending money, they might start winning some things. But when you live in Tallahassee and you're surrounded by the SEC, all your 90% of your fan base lives in the SEC. It's better for your fans, travel-wise, it's better for your city to be in the SEC. It just is, as Aslan just said. There's not going to be a lot of Florida State fans that are excited to go to Indiana to watch football games, whether it be Bloomington or East or West Lafayette. I don't care what part of Lafayette you're in. It's not going to be fun in November.
Y'all like Rutgers? Y'all like Maryland? I forgot what everybody loved Maryland back in the day. People love Rutgers. Come on. Man.
Yeah. So look, man, I think the Big Ten is worlds better than the ACC
because of the money. I don't think even the level of competition.
You're right. Well, Competition in football, it would be. You're in with some real big boys, man. USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Those are big boy football programs. Right now, there's one in your conference, 1.5 if you want to include Miami.
SMU
All of a sudden,
coming.
you're in a conference
SMU
with
coming,
6. Buddy. SMU is coming. So the Big Ten is good in football. It could be very good if they added 2 marquee programs like Florida State and Clemson. Every other sport that you mentioned, yeah, right. Like, yeah, this last weekend, Hauser would have been watching Florida State versus Illinois in baseball. Not quite the same thing. 2 weekends ago, it was Florida State Clemson. I don't know what the Big Ten does in softball, but, this stuff matters to us, man. It's not just a football decision, but everything being equal, the money being close to equal. Yeah, the Big Ten, what does it make, $2 million extra dollars a year? Maybe. If you're in the same ballpark, you don't have to make as much money as you can make $2 million less than Minnesota and still blow them out every time you play them on the football field because you're in the state of Florida. And I just think most Florida State fans, I guess maybe I shouldn't speak for them, most would prefer to stay in this region of the country. Their friends are all you have Georgia friends, Florida friends. I've never met anybody in my life that was a Northwestern fan. I've only met a few that were Illinois fans. But I've met a ton of LSU fans and Tennessee fans and Georgia fans and Alabama fans. They really popped up the last 15, 20 years. So it's just, I think it would be better for the overall athletic department, for the overall community, if you're playing like-minded programs that are much more close to your home base. It's good for the travel. Well, every game at Doak besides Vanderbilt or Kentucky even travels for football, would be sold out.
Well, here's my thing.
Game.
Theoretically, if you're not winning a national title, are you really sticking it to ESPN? Like, are you really sticking to ESPN if you're not winning the national title in the Big Ten?
Well, look, man, if Florida State's playing Ohio State in November and it's 1 versus 3, yeah, you are. ESPN hates that they don't have that game. Hates it. They hate that they don't have Ohio State, Michigan, especially when they're both good. These last 2 years, really the last 3 or 4 years, that's been one of the biggest games of the year. It's certainly been bigger than Alabama-Auburn, and they don't get it. So that does. If you're in the Big Ten and you're good, yeah, you are sticking it to the SEC and you are sticking it to the ESPN. But you could be good in the SEC too, and the money's pretty dang close. So if you had your druthers, you'd rather be in the SEC. For my opinion, for proximity. I don't even get into the whole ESPN thing. I don't really care all that much about that. I mean, we all know what happened a couple years ago. But, the ESPN and SEC are making money, making plenty of money, whether Florida State's in there or not. So I would like it. I would like just to go to Neyland Stadium. Man, I'd even like to see a game at Kentucky. I mean, they fill that place up. Looks kind of cool. It's pretty blue.
Kroger Field, baby.
Yeah. Athens. Name them all, man. Those are
Oxford. Let's go to the Grove, everybody. Let's go to the Grove, guys.
That's fun too. The only place I don't need to ever go is Starkville.
Boo! They're nice people up there. Show some respect.
It's the cowbell, man.
It is. Addendum.
I can't even imagine. What were those things at the World Cup?
The vuvuzelas?
Vuvuzelas or whatever? Holy cow. Yeah. That's as annoying as a vuvuzela is the cowbell. So College Station, too. I don't know if I need to be going there.
I don't go there all the time, but I want it. 110,000 people at a football stadium, I'm there. Not all the time, but yeah, once every 4 or 5 years.
You would do it just like watching a train wreck. Like just what does this look like up close?
I would be on the field and I would just film those cheer dudes when they were losing.
I know, yeah, because people can't understand how. Now that I think about it, that's almost enough to make me prefer the Big Ten.
Change your mind.
That whole scene in College Station might be enough.
Yeah, the addendum. I will say this: huge Jim Harbaugh guy. Would follow Jim Harbaugh to the end of the world. Let's see how good Michigan's going to be without Jim Harbaugh. Ohio State, Oregon, yes, bona fide. I don't want to call them blue blood, but bona fide national title contending programs. Penn State probably in the mix there as well. I have a weird affinity for Southern Cal. I'd love to see them there, but they're not even close. So I think right now, that's a mostly, and I know Indiana was in the playoff, I get it, but it's mostly like a 3-team conference. You can go ahead and throw Michigan in there if you want. But listen, we somewhat have Notre Dame. I know Notre Dame, technically, we're not sharing money with Notre Dame, but we have access to Notre Dame. which I
Sure.
think is a better game than, playing Nebraska or Wisconsin or any of the, quote, second-tier teams in the Big Ten.
But those are especially like Michigan. Michigan and USC, I mean, they have accomplished some things. And they are capable. There is potential there, as they just proved.
But so's North Carolina. Anyway. There's Miami. They've got potential.
I mean, Miami, I guess. Yeah, now that they're paying people. North Carolina's never proven anything ever, except Dre Bly. They've never done anything. But Michigan and USC, they're still blue bloods. Whether Michigan just won a national championship 2 years ago, but I know USC hasn't been great lately. But there is a potential to.
That's
get
a big
back
game.
there.
Those teams show up at Tallahassee. That's a huge deal.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Those would be cool. Be cool. I remember '98 when USC was in Doak. But you look, man. It's weird. We've already given this comment way too much oxygen. I would be willing to bet if you polled 100 Florida State fans and laid it all out for every sport, not just do you want to stick it to ESPN or not, but understand this is going to hurt your baseball program. This is going to hurt your softball program. It's
your basketball team might be better off in the SEC nowadays too, man.
It might hurt corner pocket. Not as many visiting fans coming in for these big games. You would if you had all the information, I think the majority of fans would, especially if they go to games, you'd rather be able to drive to a game than have to get on to 2 flights out of Tallahassee. Because Lord knows you can't fly anywhere direct from Tallahassee. So, I just think the majority of fans would prefer the SEC if they had their druthers. They would do it holding their nose a little bit because of what this sport has become over the last 10 years and obviously what happened 2 years ago. I get it.
Did you listen to the interview with Mike Norvell before his Tampa booster stop on Sunday, Corey Clark?
Did I?
Oh, you did?
No, I didn't.
The two things from it, and I don't know if one of these is fair or not, but I guess both of them is it fair or not, Corey? Listen, I mean, we're forcing the football. Leave Mike alone, everybody. I get it. But I feel like he does remind us that, he was really good here once, which I think we all recognize. But I don't know how many people want to hear it. I mean, he mentioned that, I think he was asked, what does Gus bring? And I think it might have been during that answer. Maybe it wasn't, so I shouldn't say it. I don't know the context behind it. But this is the second time now where he's had to kind of discuss what happened last year, how motivated are you? Are you extra motivated, more motivated? And he's talked about, listen, the results here have been elite. They've also been very disappointing. And I just don't know if you even need to really mention either of those things when you're discussing the football program. It could be all forward. Almost wonder why he said that he thinks Tommy's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Why would you say that again, man? You can just say you've got high expectations for him. He has very high expectations for himself, and you feel really good about what you guys can do together. Why are we all American? The Darius Washington.
You know what?
Stop
he
it,
might
man.
He might actually believe it.
He might. I don't know, man. And then the second thing is he was asked about House. And listen, I mean, I'm just throwing stuff at you. Feel free to run with it or feel free to punt it. We can just say goodbye. But he was asked about House settlement, what that's going to bring, and he sounds like he's excited for the parity that it's going to bring because right now, quote, right now, there's some extremes going on. And again, you weren't spending the amount of money that Texas is reportedly spending on their team this year, but maybe relatively speaking, what Florida State spent on their roster in 2023 was more than what everybody else was spending, and you were able to parlay that into winning the first 13 games that season, getting a monster contract extension, and then you couldn't figure out a way to keep that going. So, to hear him kind of lament that NIL and pay for plays getting out of control now feels a little canary in the coal mine, a little maybe too late. And then, again, I just don't know. I mean, listen, we don't have to keep – I don't want to relitigate 2 and 10, but I don't know if we need to also, remind and kind of pound our chest and listen, hey, I'm not a complete bum. I won 13 games in a row to start a season.
Yeah, I guess I should listen to what he said.
All right.
Corey
will do that. We'll do a show for tomorrow. Thanks for listening.
That was a lot of stuff. I don't know which way you want me to attack that. But yeah, look, man. We all lament some aspects of NIL. I think that again, what I've always found.
Can you be the guy that took advantage of it? And took it and you ran it, you redlined it, man. You had a great team, you assembled a great team, you ended up getting a great contract on it, and now the fact that maybe you're not as hefty in the wallet as everybody else? Like, can you now be the guy that's like, yeah, we're getting out of control. There's limits.
Well, look, I don't think this is like Larinaga. Remember when he retired 10 games into the season and was like, yeah, it's all out of control. I had a guy that was trying to renegotiate in the middle of the season or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, man, you went to the Final Four because of this. You can't now complain. Your whole starting five when you were in the Final Four were transfers, some highly paid by the dude that runs Life Wallet or whatever, right into the ground apparently. Like, it wasn't even real money. And you bought a whole team that way, so you then can't lament what the sport is. But yeah, I don't know that Norvell's necessarily.
It wasn't that
doing
level.
That.
It wasn't that level of saltiness.
Because yeah, he knows that he benefited from it. I would say that he didn't go and do what Texas Tech did. Like they do get credit for identifying some guys that then earned money, like Jordan Travis. Like Jordan Travis wasn't somebody they went and bought from Louisville, or it wasn't somebody they had to pay a lot of money to keep around in 21 and 22. 23 they did, but he had already proven his worth, like Jared Verse had. And I'm sure they made a competitive offer to Jared Verse, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that, and this might be completely wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and assume this, that Patrick Payton is getting paid as much or more at LSU as Jared Verse did from Florida State in 22. I'm sorry. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's been 3 years and it's been that kind of jump, but I do think that. Remember, I keep bringing this up all the time. Jimbo Fisher lost his mind because Nick Saban said he spent $3 million on a roster. $3 million. That's less than Miami's paying its quarterback. And Jimbo lost his mind for a whole roster, or for the recruiting class, that they spent $3 million on. 20 great players, according to the experts. None of them could score touchdowns with Jimbo there, but whatever. And he lost his mind, and that was just $3 million. Now here we are. That was like 5 years ago, right? 4 years ago?
So then May 2022, May 19th, so like on the dot.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we're here. That was $3 million was the rumor. Now Texas is $30 to $40 million. That's how much it's grown exponentially. And I think that's where you can get behind Norvell and be like, yeah, this is a bit out of control.
Saban actually is the one that said that he paid Alabama players $3 million, quote, doing it the right way.
Oh,
so
right.
Jimbo's
Okay.
paying a little bit more than that, but still, that $3 million.
So that's
got
what.
you
So
Alabama
now it
results.
has been. It's exponentially more than that.
Yes.
Like the going rate for a quarterback has probably quadrupled in a year.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like it's slowing down. It won't slow down because this sport makes too much money and jobs are on the line and people care so much that they will continue to pay. And you will have a Travis Hunter get paid $15 or $17 million to play college football. It's crazy, right? It's just crazy. But that if it doesn't slow down, that's where it's heading. And I think that's why he's trying to pump the brakes on it before it gets too out of control, because these aren't NFL teams. And NFL fans don't have to support their roster by paying for the roster. Yeah. But college fans are asked to do that, and it's frankly not fair, and it hasn't been fair, and this is insanity. This is insanity that the love of some of these people's lives, what gives them great joy, they're made to feel less than if they don't cough up money to go pay for a right guard. Yeah. It's just Eagles fans don't have to pay for Jalen Hurts.
No, sir.
Or Johnny Wilson, Super Bowl champ Johnny Wilson.
That's right.
Nobody has to pay for him. So, hey, before we get out of here, though,
golf.
Got to give a shout-out to the women's golf team.
What about the men's golf team? I don't think we talked since men's golf did it as well. Won their second straight regional championship.
They won their regional. We knew that would happen. They stormed to it, by the way, right?
Luke Clanton, first two-time NCAA regional individual champion in FSU history.
Hey, I told Krista, by the way, that we might try to get him on the show this week, maybe.
Okay.
Because they're going to nationals. I think they start
23rd, Carlsbad, California, at the Omni La Casa Resort.
So that's where the women are playing right now, and so the women are actually in their the national championship round. And so if people that don't know, I do this every year, but I know you guys aren't. It'd be weird if y'all were. You're not really tuned into the college golf scene. So you win the top 5 in each regional. There's 6 regionals. The top 5 in each regional go to Carlsbad for the national championship. So there's 30 teams out there. It's 3 days of stroke play, and then they cut the teams in half. So the top 15 advance to round 4, where then it's the top 8. And then after that, it's match play. So, anyway, after 3 rounds, your Lady Noles, led by our girls Mirabelle Ting,
Our ladies.
and Lottie Wode, are sitting in 5th place. So they comfortably made the first cut. You had to be in the top 15. They're 5th. They're at 3 over total for the tournament. They've got one more round a day to try to get to match play. Now they've got to finish in the top 8. Right now they're 5th. They've got the team that's in 8th, or the team that's in 9th right now that they got to stay in front of is Arizona State, who's at plus 11. So they've got an 8-shot lead right now, but those can go real quick when you're combining scores. It's not like just individual golf. Like if you have 2 ladies that triple bogey a hole, all of a sudden you've lost 6 strokes in 1 hole. But anyway, they're 8 shots ahead, and if they finish in the top 8 today, they advance to match play where if they win 3 matches, they're the national champs. So kind of cool, man. So shout out to them for being in 5th place after 3 days. And also, I don't know. I mean, people can be beaten, Aslan, but right now Stanford is number 1. They're 23 under par. They have a 15-shot lead over Northwestern. Stanford is number 1 in the country, by the way.
Mercy.
And they're 23 under as a team. They're number 1. Florida State is in 5th place. They're 3 over as a team. So, and they have the 2 best amateur golfers in the world, and they're still 26 shots behind Stanford. So, but hey, match play, anything goes, buddy.
Yeah.
Match play, Colin Montgomery's better than Tiger Woods. Crazy stuff happens in match play, so you just want to get there. So shout out to them, and then as Aslan said, the men's team rolled at their regional, so they made the top 30, and they start this weekend on the same course to try to win their first ever national championship. Maybe they can pull off the double whammy, Aslan, and the men and women both win the national championship.
Let's do it. And hopefully
to
Lonnie
go along
Link.
with Lonnie. Yeah. Lonnie and Link, that's right. There's going to be 4 national championships coming your way in the next month.
That Sears Trophy, whatever it's called, the Capital One Cup, whatever, it's coming back home. It's coming to Tallahassee where it belongs.
It'll probably go to Stanford, seeing that they're 23 under, and I bet they did pretty well in the rowing this year.
I want to take back my entire SEC over Big Ten take.
Uh-oh.
Apparently, Urban Meyer was on a podcast and said the Big Ten has passed the SEC at the upper part. If you would have told me that 10 years ago, I would have said it's not even close, because it's not. Yeah. He says the Big Ten has passed the SEC at the upper part. So I was wrong. Urban Meyer was right, everybody.
The upper part of what?
The conference.
Like the elite teams?
Yeah, top half, I guess, yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. Maybe, yeah. I mean, Ohio State's really good. Oregon's good every year. Is that what he means?
The Wolverine team 2 years ago was one of the best teams I've seen. Yeah, because freaking Jim Harbaugh, and he is gone. Look at Stanford. Look what they've done since he left. Anyway.
True. That's good.
30 seconds on the way out. How does this sound to you? Tate Rodemaker, Western Carolina Catamount.
You know, I'll always wonder about Tate if he'd have played in the Orange Bowl. Or no, not that. I'm sorry. If he'd have played in the championship game, the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
I really wish he would have.
Yeah.
I guess there's protocols and stuff. I get it. But what if he goes out there and goes, I don't know, they weren't going to throw a ton in the rain, but if my man goes 15 of 24 for 208 and a couple touchdowns, and they win 34-6 and then get to the playoff, and then he plays well against Michigan, they lose, but he plays pretty well. He makes a good account of himself. I wonder what would have happened there, but that didn't happen. He didn't get to play in the ACC championship game. He didn't get to play in the playoff, and then he elected not to play in the Orange Bowl. And his career has gone from Tallahassee to Hattiesburg to now wherever the hell Western Carolina is. Where is it? I know they're the Catamounts, but I don't know. Are they in North Carolina, I guess?
Yeah, they are in Cullowhee.
Oh, yeah, everybody knows that. Cullowhee, yeah.
Home of Cal Raleigh.
Okay, and Cal Raleigh, by the way, hit another couple of dongs this weekend. That guy's out of control.
That's awesome, man. All right, everybody, we're going to do a couple more shows this week for you folks, I think, because then Memorial Day's next weekend, so probably won't do a Monday show for you then, if that's okay. Corey, let's reconvene at a later date this week, shall we, and talk Florida State sports and fellowship.
Let's do it, buddy. I love you.
I love you too, man. He's Corey Clark. I'm Aslan Hajavani. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com.